Well, looks like we got a full house here. Some familiar faces.
I don't know why my video is not showing.
Nadine, is it up on the top right?
You can see me, you can't see me. My name is just on here.
Yeah, it's up top right. It says stop or start video. Can you see that?
It says mute. Oh yeah, I got it.
There you are. Here we go. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, let me fix it. Hello.
Melissa's in here twice. She must be really important. Melissa, you're on mute.
Yeah, there's multiple of me because when we run the meetings, we have to log in and we've got a city login and it just so happens to be my picture because we haven't changed it.
That's good to have. Mike's healed. He's ready to go.
We think so. We hope so.
You on the mend?
Yeah.
Good.
I've got a couple months left before I'm fully recuperated, but I'm getting a lot of activity back and a lot of the strength back, and the day-to-day routine is not interrupted anymore. So that's good. Okay, I got about 5:30. Are we ready to start?
I'm ready.
Okay, first off, I want to call to order the meeting of the Bellbrook-Sugarcreek community leaders. I know it's been a while since we last met, sometime back in, I think, 2019. For those of you who don't know, I'm Mike Schweller. I'm the mayor of the city of Bellbrook, and Bellbrook is this evening's host, so I'll be the chairperson for the meeting. I want to start off with a roll call for those entities that are in fact having official meetings. We'll start with the Bellbrook, and Pam, if you could please call the roll.
Yes. Mr. Hoke.
Here.
Mr. Havens.
Here.
Dr. Van Veldhuizen.
Here, man.
Mr. Greenwood.
Here.
Mrs. Middlestetter. Here. Mr. Edwards.
Here.
Mayor Schweller.
Here. Thanks, Pam. Now, Sugarcreek Township, feel free to call your roll.
All right, Barry, can you take the roll for us, please?
Sure. And this is for a work session, not a regular meeting. Mr. Kramer.
Here.
Mrs. Doherty.
Here.
And Mrs. DeStefani.
Here.
Does anyone else need to call roll this evening?
No.
Okay, seeing none. I wanted to go around and do introductions since last time we met was early in 2019. I know a lot of the faces have changed. So I'll start off Mike Schweller, Mayor City of Bellbrook, and I'll go to my city councilman first, starting with Deputy Mayor Nick Edwards. And if everybody can just say a couple words about themselves and where they're from, what entity, and then we'll try to keep it limited so we can kind of move through the other items on the agenda in the short period of time we have allotted.
Okay. Nick Edwards, Bellbrook City Councilman for 7 years. I've lived in Bellbrook for 25 years and I'm retired from Key Bank.
Okay, Forrest.
Hi, everybody. My name's Forrest Greenwood. Live in the city of Bellbrook for 35 years. Retired from Wright-Patterson Air Force and stay busy doing odd jobs and things. And thanks.
Thanks. Okay, Ernie.
Hi, Ernie Havens. Lived in the community for 20 years, been on council for a little over 1 year. And I publish Bellbrook-Sugarcreek Neighbors magazine.
Okay, TJ.
Hi, I'm TJ Hoke. I've been on council for 1 year. I've been a resident of Bellbrook for approximately 10, and I've got 2 young children in the school system.
Okay, thanks. Elaine.
Hi, Elaine Middlestetter. I'm in my second year of my third term on council, lived in Bellbrook for 40 years. 2 daughters graduated from the school system here and retired business owner.
Thank you. Okay, Dr. Dave Van Veldhuizen.
Hey, well, that's me. I'm in my second year on the city council. Lived in Bellbrook for about 13 years, retired from active duty, and then surprised myself, went back to work for the Air Force as a civilian. So I commute up to Wright Pat each.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, now we'll turn over to the township for introductions.
All right. You want to start? Why don't we start with Nadine? She's our veteran.
Okay, my name's Nadine, and I'm a township trustee for 20 years now. And I've lived in Sugar Creek all of my life, graduated from Bellbrook, and my 3 kids graduated from Bellbrook.
And then we got Fred.
Fred Kramer. I've lived here 20 years in Sugar Creek Township. It's my first, just got elected, so it's my first term, and just love living in the community. I'm an advisor to Wright State University, and I'm president of Guide Technologies.
And I'm Carolyn DeStefani. I'm in my second term. I've been a trustee for 5 years. I've lived in the community over 20 years. And my kids went all the way through Bellbrook-Sugarcreek schools. So I've got 2 of them. I'm an Air Force veteran and also couldn't stay away. So I actually work for a contractor. I'm the business development director for a group called Estrella. So I'm busy, have a day job and a trusteeship.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. So do we want to go ahead and have Barry and Melissa introduce themselves as well?
Yeah, I was going to introduce myself too and talk about my background. I don't think I said that before, but I've been a Bellbrook resident since 1984. I've been involved with Bellbrook City Council since 1996, and I've been mayor since June of 2019. I'm a CPA. I currently work in the tax business. I'm employed by Brady Ware and Schoenfeld, a firm out at Austin Landing, and I'm trying to find out what retirement's like once I get there. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead. Barry or Melissa?
Melissa.
Melissa Dodd, city manager for Bellbrook, and I am just coming up on completing my 3rd year as city manager. So that's awesome.
Barry Tiffany, I'm the township administrator. I actually moved to Bellbrook in 1967 and left in 1978 after graduating high school. I've been in public service 31 years this year and been back with the township 16 years as of April, and I have 5 years and about 15 days to go.
Who's counting? Huh?
Who's counting?
Who's counting?
Dr. Kozad, you take to Bellbrook Schools. Who's here tonight?
Sure. Virginia, you want to go first? Then I'll go.
Okay, I'm Virginia Slothman, and I'm a member of the school board.
And I'm Doug Kozad. I'm the superintendent of Bellbrook-Sugarcreek Schools, and this is finishing up my 3rd year as superintendent. And I have 3 kids that have already graduated from Bellbrook, and I currently have a high schooler. And we moved here about, it's going on 11 years now.
Thanks. Last but not least, the parks.
Go ahead, Mike.
I'm Mike Johnson. I've just joined the commissioners here in the fall. So I'm brand new. I have 4 small boys, and I've been in Bellbrook about 17 years now.
And lastly, I'm Jeff Stewart. I've been with the Park District almost 15 years. Barry, I got to get I'm not quite as close as you, but I'm right on your heels. So I've been here about 15 years.
Okay, thanks, everybody. Like I said before, a lot of new faces that weren't here last year. I think it was last time we met was probably spring of 2019. And at that time, we just had a couple people from each sector so that no one really had a public meeting. But now we are having some public work sessions with the city and the township. Okay, thanks for taking time to introduce yourself. Next up is the updates. And we wanted to start off with Melissa for the city of Bellbrook update. And then we'll go through township, schools, and parks. Melissa, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
So sorry, the 4-year-old just barged in on me. Okay, So I have two things that I wanted to give updates on, and the first is the 2021 City of Bellbrook goals. So at the beginning of the year, over the course of 2 work sessions, City Council met and established some goals for 2021, which a number of these affect the broader community. So I just wanted to quickly go over those and share those with the group. So these are broken into 5 different categories. Our city council has council committees, and there are actually 4 of those. So 4 of the categories are associated with those council committees. So, and then the 5th one is a general kind of catch-all that isn't really assigned to one of the council committees for oversight and assistance. So I'll start with general, just monitoring the ongoing pandemic as we all have been, and just understanding and monitoring its impact on our finances and our infrastructure and employees and so on. We are currently writing a number of updates to our zoning code and updating our entire property maintenance code. So that is keeping staff very busy, and also coming up with a code enforcement plan. So those are our general goals. We have 2 financial related goals. One is a community improvement corporation, looking at establishing and identifying funding sources for said community improvement corporation. If you're not familiar with what a community improvement corporation is, it's an economic development arm of the city, and it would have its own board made up of city representatives as well as community members from Bellbrook. And basically it allows the city to be able to enter into real estate transactions with city-owned property in order to be a little bit more creative versus just putting out properties to the highest bidder. So that's something that we are looking at, and that's kind of the basics of it, but just in case there were folks out there that weren't familiar with that. Second financial goal is looking at our future levy needs and projections. One of the items that I was going to touch on, which ties into this, so I'm just going to go ahead and mention it now. The city of Bellbrook will be going on the November ballot for a general fund renewal. So this will not be a replacement. It will not be an increase. It is a 1.3 mil renewal. So that will be on the November ballot. We have 3 opportunities in which to renew that before the deadline comes up. And so the first opportunity for us to do that will be November. So we're just going to go ahead and place that on the ballot in November for that renewal. So again, no increase, just a renewal of general fund, 1.3 mils there. The third category is associated with our safety committee of council. And that committee has 2 goals that they are working on. We're reassessing tornado sirens. This comes up every year and it's kind of talked about, but we're going to look at this really in depth and decide once and for all if that's something that we want to move forward with or not. So we are working on that right now. The second associated with safety is our fire department needs in future. And so we are looking at a number of different options related to our fire department because we're operating 2 different stations that neither are quite meeting the needs 100%. So we're just looking at a number of options related to our fire department. The 4th category is our service committee. We're looking at Little Sugarcreek Road. We are going to be doing some borings, and that will help us to understand the geology underneath of the road to be able to figure out what kind of a long-term solution would be, what it would cost, all of those things. So we're continuing to study Little Sugarcreek Road. The next goal for service is walkability. So we are looking at some downtown crosswalks and sidewalk connections throughout the community. And those are the service goals. So the final goal category, the 5th, is community affairs. And they have a few goals associated with those. Downtown improvements is one. We're looking at Main Street as a truck route and trying to figure out kind of how to deal with the trucks coming up Main with the hill. Just looking into that for our downtown, as well as streetscape design and implementation. We just put out an RFP for a downtown streetscape plan, looking at some pedestrian level street lighting, and as well as some sidewalk connections, some enhancements to different spaces in our downtown. Wayfinding and some branding and updated signage would all be a part of that. So I actually just received, I believe it was 7 or 8 proposals just Friday. So we will be looking at that to determine next steps on that and trying to come up with a nice plan for our downtown and moving forward. Also included as part of that streetscape design and implementation, goes kind of hand in hand, is an upgrade for our Main and Franklin Street traffic light. It's kind of messy and it's a span wire, and we would like to have mast arms. So we're looking at possibly upgrading that and what that would look like. And then the final goal on the list is to reinstitute quarterly community meetings. So we can cross one goal off the list with this. So that is what the work that the city is going to be engaged in this year. And we've got a lot of exciting things in the pipeline, and it's going to benefit all of us as a broader community. So I'm really excited to get to work on those and to be able to share updates the next time that we're all around. So again, I had 2 things. I wanted to go over the goals and then the levy, and then the levy actually tied in. So that's it for me.
Thanks, Melissa. And given the time constraints, maybe we could hold our questions to the end, and we'll have questions as much as time permits at that point. And now if we could go to the township, Tiffany.
Mr. Mayor, what is your time constraint? When do you need to finish, just to make sure?
We've got this scheduled for 5:30 till 6:30.
Great, thank you. A couple things. First, a really exciting thing, the Nick and Edna Weller Foundation has purchased approximately 105 acres on Upper Bellbrook Road. And I know Jeff is aware of this, and he purchased it. They purchased it from the Tisher family. This is property along the Little Miami River that they are going to make into a public park with private dollars, which is very, very exciting for all of us in the community. They're going to have they're going to build a barn that has some like a museum, historical museum that talks about the river, that talks about river life in the 1800s in that area, and even the indigenous people. It's exciting. The gentleman who did the work for Cox Arboretum is working with them on design. And it's really neat what they're doing to preserve that land and as open space in our community, and have it open to the public is just going to be a great asset. We've received an application for zoning on the Harry's property. The Harry's property is across from 5 Seasons. They have about 60 acres or so that they're rezoning. Some patio homes, about 61 patio homes, and about 10 estate lots. This is going to go to the trustees in April. It went to the zoning commission last week, and the zoning commission, with some modifications and recommendations, has recommended that the trustees approve it. The trustees will hear that. The public hearing is set for April 5th. These patio homes this is Diorio Homes is the builder. Excuse me, they anticipate the patio homes will start in the 400s and go as high as in the 600s, and the estate lots will start in the 700s. So these are some really nice homes that they're putting in. Part of the Spears property next to Redwood has come in with an application for rezoning that'll be heard by the zoning commission next month. This is for single family residences on about 12 acres, I think, 12 and a half. This is Fisher Homes. That one's yet to be seen what will happen with it. It is set for next month with the zoning commission. We've submitted another grant request from Safe Routes to School. To date, we've received about $1.5 million in funding for our pathways, and we're trying to continue that pathway system moving west. This section will be from Eden Meadows Drive to Soaring Heights. It's a very long process with them. So I think if we do get it funded, it'll probably be 2024 before that's constructed, maybe 2023 if we're lucky, but I wouldn't count on it. Let me see. We're still waiting to hear on an ODNR grant regarding the bridge over the Little Sugar Creek, Little Sugar Creek Road there along Feedwire. Hopefully we're going to get that grant. That's a sizable chunk of the project to get that pathway constructed through there. We've got it on either side of the creek, but we need to be able to cross the creek. We're working with the City of Centerville, Greene County Engineer's Office, and the Montgomery County TID to study the interchange at 675 and the area surrounding that contributes to the 675 traffic issues. We've got a problem with traffic backing up a lot, especially southbound on the off ramps and onto the highway. And then the ancillary roads around that contribute to 675. The study area extends all the way to the northern boundaries of Sugar Creek Township, west over to about Bigger Road in Centerville, south to Franklin, and east to Upper Bellbrook. We want to get a study done to determine what improvements need to be made. And then we're seeking some grant funding through track funding at this point to help pay for some of those improvements. I've spoken with Doug and others about the traffic at the schools. We all live with it on a daily basis, trying to get the kids dropped off, get the buses in and out. We have received word that we're getting a grant on Carpenter Road at South Alpha Bellbrook to make improvements there that will allow the buses to exit the rear of the lot and help with the congestion on Feedwire Road in the morning. Those buses currently cannot make the right-hand turn on South Alpha at Carpenter to come back toward the city of Bellbrook. So that should get built this summer. We're hoping to start that. We receive funding the 1st of July, and we're hoping to get that project built and done before the school year starts. I don't know that it'll happen. A lot depends on the contractor that is awarded the project, but that's our goal. Building continues everywhere. I think last week Kara saw 26 plans for new houses come in. It's a very lively spot. Sugar Creek and Bellbrook are both. The fire department, we approved the purchase of a new ladder truck last week. The ladder truck that we received a few years ago with a grant from FEMA is not really built for our community. It's not sized correctly, and we've had a lot of maintenance issues with it. So the goal is to get this new truck built. It will be, that's Remington, by the way. He makes an appearance in all our meetings. The trustees will tell you. So the goal is to get it built this coming year. We should have it sometime around the 1st of next year or shortly thereafter. Once it's received, the existing ladder truck will go on the sale block and be sold. And those revenues will go back to help pay for that truck. I want to applaud our department heads. We are financially in better shape than we've been in the 16 years that I've been with the township. And I can see Nadine raising her head. She remembers the lean days.
Oh, I do.
I sure do. Yeah. And, this about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, we were talking about, a levy for the fire department. And we kind of put it off, hoping that things would improve, and they have improved dramatically. We've done a good job within the departments. The chiefs are to be applauded for their efforts, and I'm happy to say that we are not putting any levies on the ballot this year, either in the spring or the fall at this point. and I don't anticipate any next year either. So it's a good feeling. It's a very good feeling for myself and the trustees. The last thing we want to talk about is our community cleanup day scheduled for April 10th. Our rain out date is April 17th. Our goal, we've divided the township, and these are the rural roads. These are the main roads, not anything within the subdivisions. Our residents do a great job cleaning up their own properties. It's the main roads like Feedwire Road and South Alpha, Little Sugar Creek. But our goal is we split it up into 56 sections. Currently, we have 16 sections adopted, which is a very good start with about 3 weeks to go, but we'd really like to get more people involved. Fred had a great idea, and I will let the other people make their reports, and then we'll come back to that, Fred, in the interest of time, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That's all I have.
You're on mute, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Barry. Go ahead, Dr. Cozad. Sorry.
Hello, everybody. We are in the fourth quarter of the school year, which it seems like the school year has been going on forever, but at the same time, it's gone really fast. So it's kind of an oxymoron there, but we've had all things considered, a very good school year. We've actually held in-person schooling all year from the beginning of the year. So at the beginning of the year, we were hybrid. So we had some kids coming 2 days a week and then did online for 3 days. And then we had another group doing in-person 2 days a week and then 3 days online. So we did that for about 3 or so weeks at the beginning of the school year. Everybody that chose to go in person came back in person up through Thanksgiving or so. And then from about a week before Thanksgiving all the way through middle of January, we went back to hybrid, same kind of model. But since Martin Luther King Day, the day after there, we've gone 100% of those students that were choosing to go in person. So we've had about 80% of our students choose to be back in school in person, and about 20% are online through the rest of the school year. So we're trending, as we look towards next school year. If I looked a month back, things changed so dramatically by week, by month. And so we're making decisions already for next year, in the next couple months here, of what next year is going to entail for us. Sports, we've had fall sports season, we've had a winter sports season, and band and music seasons. And so those have all have gone on. There's been obviously a number of quarantines that have happened through that whole process, but they've all had complete seasons, which, again, going back to last summer, if you'd have said that, everybody would take that. Hey, we're going to have full seasons. And now spring sports are starting this week. And so so we're heading in a good direction for that. Just a couple things from the winter. So we had a couple award winners. We had an SWBL Player of the Year, Bailey Zerby, and SWBL Girls and Boys Coach. So Donnie Tate was the boys coach, and Jason Tincher was the girls coach, SWBL Coach of the Year. So some good things going on there. Again, we've also had band and music and choir. So actually last week we had an in-person choir concert. So again, everybody socially distanced, everybody wearing masks, including those singing, and they were able to distance on the stage, and so everybody distanced in the crowd. So heading in the right direction for that. And we actually have in-person music concerts this week. Again, only those folks that are family members are able to be ticketed. But again, getting back to some type of normal things. We've had sports in person all year. So those folks in music and band deserve the same right of having some in-person performances. So we're getting back to some normal on that. Other normal things that were canceled last year, we're going to have a prom. So April 17th is our prom. Again, with all the COVID protocols as much as possible, with that. We're actually going to be at Carillon Park. They have a new building over there. So luckily those juniors, those seniors this year that were juniors last year that missed out on that. So, lucky for them that they're going to be able to have a prom, that things are trending the right way. And we're also going to have an in-person graduation. We're looking at May 15th at the stadium. Again, ticketed events, not open to the general public, but ticketed events, but it's still getting into some semblance of normalcy. And we're going to hope and pray for rain or for sunny weather and not rain on May 15th, so we don't have to do a rain date or anything. I know other folks talked about a levy. We have a levy on the ballot in May here. We have a 7-year emergency levy that's going to yield about $3.22 million, which is about 4.9 mils. And so again, this is different from the last levies that we have asked for that did not pass, obviously. So first of all, it's a 7-year levy. It's not a continuing levy, so that's one change. It's emergency levy, which only deals with a dollar amount, even though there is a millage on there. It deals with a dollar amount, $3.22 million. It's about $28 less per $100,000 house, so it's about $171.50 per 100,000. And with that millage and that amount, it's about $100,000 less that we're collecting compared to the last levy. Again, that's on May 4th. Urge everybody to get the facts and the information about that. Obviously, there's information on our website. Myself or board members or Kevin Liming, our treasurer, be more than happy to answer any questions for them. Some other things going on, and here's one of the more important things here, academics. So, you hear a lot of things on the news as they talk around the state, around the country. And, something you've heard probably around the country is kids need to get back in school. They need to get back in school, and keep on saying to myself, we've been back in school the whole year. So that's a testament to our staff, our parents, our community of doing what we need to do to make sure that happens, but also a testament on our academic scores. So we do a test called MAP, Measures of Academic Progress. And so we do that 3 times a year. And so we compared our winter scores this year to our winter scores last year. And for the most part, they're right where they were in the past couple of years. So again, that's another thing that we hear on the news is the academic gaps and so forth really are out there. And again, for individual students, of course, there are individual gaps there that we will continue to address. But overall, throughout our school system, our academic scores are where they've been in the past couple of years. And really, again, that's a testament to a team effort between parents and teachers, really through last year as we went into remote learning, and this year as we've gone into hybrid, that parents are working with their kids at home on things and taking a lot more on for everybody. So we do appreciate our parents, and we appreciate our teachers for that. And we still are having our state testing. So they did delete one test, the American history test, that is not a federal. We went down to federal minimums, the state did. And so we are still having testing. That's in mid-April. And so those are all the things that are going on in the school district.
Thank you for the update, Dr. Kozad. Now, parks.
Always save the fun stuff for last, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Couple things. I'm going to break it up in programming and projects. Normally, I wouldn't run through the programming as much, but since we're coming out of the darkness of COVID and people want to get out, there's some pretty good things that we're going to try to pull together for the community. The first thing is we're going to be partnering with Neighbors Magazine. Thank you, Mr. Havens, to present music in the park. And this will be every Friday night from late April running through September. So the events typically are going to start at about 5:30, and the first concert's going to be April 23rd. On that first concert on the 23rd, in recognition of Arbor Day, and April is Ohio's Native Plant Month, we're also going to be partnering with the school district's Honor Society to hand out about 200 white pine trees, seedlings, I should say. Not trees, seedlings. They'll be babies. They'll be pretty small, but we'll have about 200 of those. So if you're interested, get there early. Hopefully, knock on wood, if COVID keeps going in the direction that it is, we plan on a full palette as far as our children's programming goes. We're going to have all our camps, archery camps, river exploration, nature explorers, fossil, some of the things we've done in the past, art at Bellbrook. We're going to try to pull it off. I think they're going to do some consolidation on the times, the length of the camps, but we're probably going to choke this down to residents only, just because we have to keep some of those camps a little bit smaller than we have historically. Also in April, our naturalist is going to be doing several wildflower hikes. Wildflowers are out. She just saw, I think, some spring beauties and some harbingers of spring, so they're already out. But she's going to be doing a couple of hikes. That'll be listed on our website. And again, it's going to be a registration-based hike. Lastly, as far as the programming goes, we're also going to continue with our movie in the park. That's going to be starting on the 21st. That's going to be monthly. Again, that'll be on the website. We typically have a movie, family-based, normally collaborate with a local organization and try to tie it into the movie. I think last year they did Secret Lives of Pets. We had Humane Society out there with Siska. They do some activities for the kids. And that's partnering with Matt Pauley with Pauley Insurance and Financial. Without him, it would be hard to make that one possible. So as far as some of the projects we got going, we've had quite a few. It's been pretty hectic lately. Finally, we were able to close on the Kiter estate. The Kiter property is right next to McGee. It's that house there as you get ready to enter into Sable's Ridge. Or Highview Terrace, I'm sorry. We were able to acquire that property. The trust worked with us, and they were very, very patient. Mrs. Kiter was always determined to have that property preserved, and we were able to use some grant funding to acquire that. So plans eventually would probably try to get a bridge to span over to McGee and connect Kiter Reserve together. But that's a huge, huge win, especially for that little park. It gets so much pressure. It's one of our most used neighborhood parks. Pickleball courts. I don't know if everyone knew we had pickleball courts in the community now, but that's been a tremendous hit. Apparently there's a pickleball godfather that lives in the community though, and we get lots of friendly tips on how to improve or modify. So we've got some fencing. Fencing started going up this past weekend. I'm hoping it's going to be completed this following weekend. So the tennis players don't have to deal with the pickleball folks having the ball fly across their court. I think most of you are aware that Brookview was acquired by the Park District. We worked with the owners of that pool. They had a strong belief that they wanted to preserve that property. They didn't want to see it developed. Again, very patient with us. We were able to use grant funding for that. Had some decent bids come in for a change. So we've awarded that contract, and demolition should start in April next month. And renovation. We're still working with Five Rivers on how the trail alignment's going to work with Sugar Creek Reserve and the pool, the old pool property. But I have a lot of confidence in Five Rivers. They'll cooperate with us. With Morris Reserve, we had through a very, very generous donation, private donation, and some grant funding, we were able to plan for a 80-foot suspension bridge that'll span a ravine that's within that parcel. This is going to be almost like a swinging bridge. If you guys are familiar with Old Man's Cave, Hemlock Bridge is it's kind of styled after that. First bid estimates came in horribly high. I'm going to blame COVID on it. We retooled that, and we're going to put that out to bid next month. So in hopes we can get a little more competitive bid. We also will be working, I don't know if anyone's been out there, they've seen all those boulders kind of laying around. That's going to be for it's called, I think the hippie name is a council ring, but it's essentially like going to be a mini amphitheater. they're going to use for programming. It's going to be a resting spot for folks. It's on the site where the old barn was, so it's kind of tucked up into the woods a little bit, but it's a good halfway spot between the two trailheads. And I didn't have my brand new commissioner quit on me, and we made it through the athletic season. I may have lost a few hairs, maybe a little more gray hair, but Mike's worked tremendously hard with the athletic folks, trying to put some structure to the way we work with on space and recognized leagues versus non-recognized leagues. And Mike has certainly earned his paycheck, what little paycheck or no paycheck there is. But that's what I have for the park updates now.
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for the update. At this time, we can open up for questions. I know, Barry, you wanted to have Fred Kramer talk a little bit. We can go to that first. I did not plan on bringing in community input. I wanted to keep the conversation amongst us only because of the time constraints. Tonight is a Bellbrook City Council meeting starting at 7 o'clock. So if we adjourn this about 6:30, that'll give us time to get ready for our meeting. With that being said, Barry, go ahead.
So our community cleanup day is the 10th. And Fred and I were talking earlier, and he had a very good idea as far as getting other folks involved. Fred, I'll let you take it from there.
Sure. So what we're trying to do, obviously, is build a little more community awareness and clean up Sugar Creek Township. And we're trying to get 80% of the roads that we've lined up done. So we have our goals. And I'm concerned that we may not get there. And our biggest issue is lack of resource. So I wanted to reach out to Dr. Cusack and Cozart and see if there was some way that we could tie together the schools and the cleanup. Now, I understand that kids would have to have parental supervision, but we might need some manpower. Just like to spend some time maybe with you, maybe tomorrow or whenever it's convenient. We've got some ways to do a press conference and get this thing on TV that shows that the schools and the community are working together. I know Bellbrook's looking at potentially doing something like this. And if you want to jump in on that, that's fine. We're open to that. But it's just a way of getting recognition for the school and getting some of the people involved. And Doug, if that works for you guys, we'd love to do that. And I think we can get that on TV, and I think you'd get some good press out of that.
Sure. Why don't we touch base and we can dig deeper into that? That sounds good. Right. I was 10th of April, or that 10th of some other month?
10th of April. So we're in a short time frame. But as Barry said, we got a good start. And if we could get this a big push with maybe some, I think there's some people that have community involvement requirements in your school. And if that's an area, I think we can put them to work, and I think we can get some good press for you.
Okay, that sounds like a great idea. Why don't we touch base tomorrow, or
I'll contact you.
Okay, that sounds great. Sounds good.
We think the key to this is we're doing it early, because once some of the honeysuckle and things like that alongside the road come out with foliage, it's a little tougher to see some of this stuff. So we want to do it in the spring, and our hopes is to do this twice a year. We'll shoot for this again in the fall and see if we can't get folks to help us keep it clean. We used to have inmates from the county sheriff's office that would help out, and Sheriff Fisher has found that there's too much. It's too complicated in the sense that when they take people out, a lot of times contraband makes it back into the jail and creates a lot of issues. So he doesn't allow those folks to come out and help anymore.
Barry, do you have any artwork or anything we could maybe put on our website or Facebook page to get that word out?
We absolutely do. I'll have the girls send the flyer over to you tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah.
We're providing gloves. We're providing masks. Of course, they say Sugar Creek on them. We have hand sanitizer for everybody, trash bags, our guys, they don't have to pick up the trash after they don't have to take the trash anymore. Once they pick it up, they can tie the bag, leave it beside the road, and our road guys will be around to pick that up. And everybody gets a bright green, yellowish green t-shirt to wear that day for safety's sake. Kids do have to be accompanied by an adult to make sure that they're safe. But we're trying to provide everything we can to help make it easy.
Barry,
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. What's that?
Send that to me too, please.
Will do.
Other questions?
Yeah, I just so last week I was sending an email to Bellbrook City Manager and our service director. One of my neighbors said, "Hey, could the city do some kind of spring cleanup?" Kind of late to the game. I think I know a handful of Bellbrook residents that would want to jump in and be a part of it as well. Looking at the map, I mean, we've got essentially a chunk of Little Sugar Creek, stretch of 725, and then Upper Bellbrook that goes through downtown. That's probably the area that needs to get addressed most here because, you know, most of the roads are occupied by property owners, but there are some areas within the city of Bellbrook that kind of, whether it's construction, traffic, debris, or just your regular litter. So we'd love to be involved, or at least I think we would.
I know that there are different neighborhood organizations that adopt a certain roadway section, and different church groups do that too. So I don't know if anything has been planned with those groups, but they sort of cross over into some of those same areas that you're talking about that are adopted by specific neighborhood groups.
Yeah, I was thinking we could reach out to maybe put one of our flyers in, like on the DOTS bulletin board, and reach out to the churches and the scouting organizations, that sort of thing too, because I think they do a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, because I know the group at our church called the Bums did one every year, where they'd sign up and they would pick a certain weekend, and same thing. But if it could all be pulled together, that would be great.
Okay. So Bellbrook, would you guys want to add to our map, and you could just I think our regions were about mile-long treks, so we kind of broke out the roadways so that there would be about a mile that each group, if they selected, like, okay, we want to clean up this section. So could you break out your area into mile-long regions or something? And get that?
We should be able to. I wouldn't see why not.
Okay.
That shouldn't be a problem.
Great.
Yeah, Melissa, if you don't mind, I'll send Ryan an email and just get his quick thoughts, and then if anybody has questions, I'd be glad to help out. That sound like a workable, Melissa?
Yeah, I wish that I would have known about this like a week or so ago, because our newsletter hits April 1st and it's already to the printer. So I missed that opportunity to be able to advertise that. So we will do our best with the tight timeline.
Ernie, did you get this notification in time to get it in the neighbors?
I'm not 100%. I did get it in time. I'm not 100% sure it made it in, but I think it did. I know we were really trying to make sure we got it in, but it's if we did, it was, I would say it was difficult. Let's put it that way. But that's not my job. That's Teresa's job. So I have to check with her.
Pass it on to your wife.
I would suggest also that we put it on the Chamber of Commerce calendar, because they're basically trying to make that calendar into a community calendar.
I've sent all of that and the flyers and the map and everything to them, so they should have that. I believe.
Okay, well, of course, because you're the liaison along the way.
You and I are on that, Elaine.
We have reached out to the local Boy Scout troops We have reached out to the chamber. There was a flyer at Dots when I was down there this evening. It's gone, so I had to stop by and put another one up today or tomorrow. We have reached out to the HOAs. Donna's here from Eagle Rise, and I know she's working within her community. And we appreciate all those neighborhoods who already do a great job within the neighborhood coming out to help on the main roads.
I would like to add too that there's one more group that I reached out to through Hope Taft, the Little Miami River Cleaners. I gave her flyers and she's talking to people too. So I think we'll get some support from Little Miami River Cleaners. So it should be good.
Good. Jeff, I've got a question for the parks. I know that as the spot opened up for Mike Johnson to apply for it, a number of people were interested in the parks position, being on the parks board. And one of the questions they had is they couldn't find a whole lot of financial information or any minutes from any park board meetings. I presume that's because of staffing, but is that public anywhere? Is there any place people can go look at your budget and your meeting minutes?
Yeah, they can contact us anytime and we can get any minutes that they want, just a normal public information request, financials or whatever they may need.
But it's not posted on the website anywhere?
It is not now, not right now.
Okay.
Something we need to try to figure out, but one day.
Takes bodies to do that stuff. I realize that. Thanks. Any other questions?
I'd like to make a comment about the cleanup details. I volunteered for several of those over my lifetime, and one of the benefits that I got out of it, I got to meet a lot of nice people and make a good memory. So that's a great thing to get started.
Good.
Mayor Schwiller, I would like to add one last thing that I'm working with. Jody Martin is Jim Martin's granddaughter, and I'm working with her to promote his birthday. He's going to turn 100 years old, and they're going to do I have a flyer here, Pee Wee, they call it, at the Skydive Green County. They're going to do it the weekend of April 22nd to April 25th. He'll be 100 years old, and Jody is also taking over the Bellbrook-Sugarcreek Chamber. But I'm working with her to just help get the word out about Jim Martin's birthday celebration. I don't know if you can put that in your magazine or not, Ernie, if it's too late, but it is the weekend of April 22nd.
It's an impressive milestone.
Yes, I know. He turns 100.
Wow.
Anyone
else?
He was skydiving to the age of 99, but he decided he'd take a break for his 100th birthday.
Yeah,
so.
he's not going to jump. They don't want him to jump.
Probably the most impressive thing about Jim turning 100 is he's been drinking spring water bubbling out of the ground on his property since 1947, unfiltered, no filters or anything. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, so.
He said it started to taste bad one time many years ago, and they opened up the cistern and found a dead raccoon. Once they removed that, a couple of days later, it was fine.
No. He's amazing. I've been to his house and he is just so sharp. I mean, he takes y'all around and shows you all his pets and his birds. He's amazing.
Good.
I also wanted to mention, the Scene 4 has made me think about it, Miami Valley Regional Planning, and I know Bellbrook also sits on that, but they are starting a new regional job board to post both fire and police vacancies. Good. So they're trying to get involvement from everyone in the Miami Valley region. So if you have openings, let them know because they'd like to post those. And I think they're testing the site right now. It should launch live here soon.
Okay, thanks. Does anyone else have anything else to talk about tonight?
I can share something that kind of a new project that I have going on with the schools and Bellbrook. So the middle school art teacher reached out to me and wanted to do a project to kind of engage the businesses in the downtown Bellbrook area. I kind of fit with what we're trying to do as far as revitalization and get people into the downtown businesses. So I purchased and dropped off 25 stretched canvases for the middle school art department. And the students are basically creating a piece of artwork. It's on a canvas 18 by 24 that has a beak and two eyes, and then the head of the eagle is created with the collage, 3D collage of a lot of different creative ideas from the kids to be a hangable piece of art that then I volunteered to place in different businesses in the downtown area. Notionally, mom, dad, cousins, brothers, sisters want to come down and see their kids' art on display and just get more boots on the ground and through our local businesses. I was really happy to see her reach out and happy to do that.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. Anything else?
I just had a quick question about the 105 acres that Barry had mentioned. What was the location for that?
So this is just across, if you're traveling east on Upper Bell and you cross over the Little Miami River, it's on the left-hand side. A lot of it's floodplain that couldn't have been built on anyhow, but there was a plan that came in probably close to 8 years ago that showed, I want to say 14 lots there that extended down to the river for some exclusive, estate style homes. But this puts it all in conservancy forever. It's very neat. The Weller Foundation is the Thomas Weller, who's the nephew of Edna and Nick, has moved into the community. His parents have moved into the community. His children have moved into the community, and they really, really like this community. I know Jeff has had some conversations with Thomas, and they're planning some other projects, and he has spoken with us about possibly helping out with our pathway system on grant matches and things like that in the future. But they are about the community and about preserving nice open spaces and having walkability and having nice parks. And it's a blessing. It's an absolute blessing to have them here. In the process, we found out that right across the bridge, and you've probably never noticed this, and I didn't, and again, I grew up here, but as you cross the bridge, if you look, as you're on the east side of the bridge, if you look to the north, there's a house that sits on top of a hill. And what we found out about in this process is that's an ancient Indian burial mound, a massive ancient Indian burial mound. And Thomas has done his research and found that there was an interview with a gentleman who built on the property originally back, I think in the 50s or late 40s. And he had buckets of human bones that the groundhogs had, as they were digging their burrows, would push out of the burrows to get out of the way. And he was collecting those in buckets, including a mandible of a human that was about 9,000 years old, they estimated at the time, which is very, very cool when you're talking about indigenous people. And that river was just a lifeblood for those folks back in that time. So it's very neat to know that that's there, and that it's even though there's a house on top, it's neat to know that that's what that is. And once you see it, you think, holy smokes, that's exactly what that is, especially if you look at the topography maps. So it's very cool. They're going to make sure that that's preserved also, and that it tells those stories. Mr. Tisher, our park commissioner, if you go stop by their building there on Stewart Road at Meade, they have displays of, I think there's 3 or 4 big displays of arrowheads and axe heads and tools that those indigenous people used all those thousands of years ago, that as they've plowed the fields over the years, they come to the surface and they picked them up and preserved them, which is really neat.
Is that near Turkey Trot Road?
Yes.
Turkey Foot's on the other side of the bridge.
Turkey Foot.
Turkey Foot's on the west side. Yep.
So
Okay,
it's,
so you're
is it
talking on
really
the
close
east
to
side.
Mead and Upper Bell?
It's not, it's just, I mean,
Right.
literally, as you cross the bridge, look to your left, and it's right there along the river.
So
Okay,
kind of
so-
Mead Road kind of dead ends into Upper Bellbrook.
Into the field. Yes, that's
Yeah,
correct.
that's into their
Okay.
field. If you turn left, it's that property.
I just always loved Turkey Foot Road. I thought that was such a cool name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. Barry, are they going to keep the house on top of the hill?
Yeah, that's not their property. That's
It's
actually a
not- that's
private
not part of
owner.
it.
That's a
Okay.
different owner.
Does
Those
Pete
folks,
still own that?
he does not. Pete Atherton, who a lot of people in town know because Pete's been around a long time, did own that house at one time. It has changed owners, I think, twice or three times since. My understanding, talking with the owners, they came in and talked with us about the park coming in. And I think it's their intent to sell sometime this year. So if you're looking for a very historic house on top of a very historic piece of ground and you're not scared of Indian ghosts, I would suggest you look at that. It has a 7-car garage up there that I guess is very nice.
Wow.
Thanks for sharing. Interesting update.
Yeah.
Do we want to try to talk about our next meeting, or want to leave it to Melissa and Barry and Jeff and Doug to come up with a date in second quarter?
Makes sense to me.
Okay.
Can we just look at 3 months out and see what we can put together?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I'll let you guys communicate it amongst yourselves, and then you can talk to the respective councils and boards at that time.
Okay.
Anything else to discuss tonight?
I'd like to thank everybody. I really appreciate doing this. I really do. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, and I'd like to echo those comments too. It's nice everybody's able to take a little time out of their day. We tried to schedule a little bit early so it didn't get into the council meetings in the evening or into the way of big NCAA basketball games or the work schedule during the day. So hopefully we got all those things accounted for. If that's nothing else to come before us tonight, I'll declare the meeting adjourned, but we need a motion for Bellbrook to adjourn from the work session.
So moved.
And if I could have a second, please.
Second.
I'll second it.
Okay, and Pam, if you could call the roll.
Sorry, I had to unmute. A motion was made by Mr. Havens to adjourn tonight's community leaders meeting, and that was seconded by Mrs. Middlestetter. Mr. Havens,
Yes.
Mrs. Middlestetter,
Yes.
Mr. Hoke,
Yes.
Dr. Van Veldhuizen,
Yes.
Mr. Greenwood,
Yes.
sorry, Mr. Edwards,
Yes.
Mayor Schwaller.
Yes. And
Thank
does
you.
the township need a motion as well, or?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to conclude our work session for Sugar Creek Township.
I'll second it.
All right. I'll say I called the motion and Nadine seconded then. Barry.
Mr. Kramer,
Yes.
Mrs. Doherty,
Yes.
Mrs. DeStefani.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay,
Thank
again,
you.
thanks a lot for your attendance, and we'll see you in about 3 months. Have a good evening.
All right.
Take
Thanks
care.
for hosting.